So today I'm just going to cover adding a logo or tattoo on your VRChat avatar's body. This can be done for a jacket, shirt, face, body, anywhere really that has an area that you'll be able to edit a texture easily. I'll show you the first way you can check to see if it's a viable area to add a logo to your avatar. First, we're going to want to click on your avatar, and on the left side here in the hierarchy, you'll be able to see the name of your avatar, and you're most likely going to see armature and body. But you're most likely going to have some extras, including maybe a hat, jacket, pants. That would just mean that all of these parts of the avatar are not joined and they are separate entities. So if you wanted to access the VRChat avatar's jacket, you would find jacket around here, or if it's all under body, you click on body. And basically what this brings up is it highlights the avatar in orange, and on my right here, under the inspector, you would be able to see all of the different materials here. So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to edit a tattoo. In this case, I want to put my Discord logo right here by her chest. So we can see here we can rule out shoes, new material. This looks like the color of the hair. So you're just going to keep on going down the list until it looks like it's the correct material. So once I see this is the body here, I'm just going to right click on the material and go down to select material. So I'm going to click on the material itself. And now we can see our entire material here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this in place. So I'm going to lock the inspector in place. That's just so that I don't accidentally, let's say, click on the jacket and the jacket appears. So if I were to have this unlocked, you can see that it changes every time I click on a material. So I'm just going to go back to body, click the lock, and make things a little bit simpler for me. So you can see if I click on the photo right here for main texture, that'll take me to where that texture is located. That's where this tutorial really begins, because you're going to want to see whether it's possible to edit the area that you actually want to edit. So to create a backup, what you can do is you can press on your keyboard Control and D just to duplicate the texture. So now we have our second texture, and I'm just going to rename this to Link's Body with Bojack Tattoo. You can name it whatever you want, just make sure it's a little bit distinct so that you'll be able to recognize it later. So how am I going to get this image into Photoshop? The first thing you're going to need to do, right click on your mouse. Just below create, you'll see show in Explorer. And now it's going to open this folder right here. So I'm going to right click this photo. And this is the part of the tutorial where I highly recommend buying a license for Adobe Photoshop, or at least getting a free trial for yourself, because it's going to be very useful. I'm going to click open with, and there's Adobe Photoshop here. If you don't see Adobe Photoshop here, I would recommend clicking choose another app, and then you're probably going to see Photoshop here. And then if not, you click on more apps, and it just kind of keep on scrolling until you find it. I'm going to open this right now. And from here, you'll notice that 3D texture is now 2D. In some cases, you'll have to sort of look at this at a split screen and kind of locate where you want the tattoo to be on your avatar. For this avatar, it's pretty obvious to see that this right clavicle is actually what you want to edit right here. But in this case, this would be the left arm, this is the right arm, and sometimes you just kind of have to play around with it until you get it right. In my case, I've zoomed in on my layers here, and I noticed that the background is locked. What I'm going to want to do first is unlock this background. And most likely, you're not going to have an area that you're going to need to cover over. But what I personally want to do is I want to get rid of this. I'm going to use the clone stamp tool. I'm just holding Alt to get this small circle, and then left clicking on a reference area that I basically want to copy over to this area. And then I click. And you'll notice that it's not super high in opacity, so I just want to click multiple times just to make sure I get that right. Okay, so now we sort of have a little bit of a copy on the left side. Once you're at this step, you're going to want to find your logo, your tattoo, anything really. What I actually want to do is I'm going to go over here. This is my logo that I want to put on my avatar. So I'm going to drag and drop and just make it a little smaller. This looks like the appropriate place to put it. I'm going to press enter. So I'm going to press Control and I to invert the colors, just so that I have this kind of nicely placed over here. So now that this is good, what I'm going to do is save this file, save as, and instead of saving it as a Photoshop document, I'm just going to save it as a PNG. I'm going to click on Link's body with Bojack tattoo because that's what I named it, and I'm going to click save. Now it's going to ask if I want to replace it. Yes, of course I want to replace it because this is my duplicate copy. Remember, the original copy is Link's body 1. So we save that. Large file size because I don't know, I want it the best quality as possible. And now do not quit your Photoshop window. I would just go back into Unity. And now you can see we're going to have this edited version. This is my Link's body with Bojack tattoo, so I'm actually going to drag this up to my main texture here. So that's a decent positioning, but you can see there's some residual things from the previous tattoo. Now, what's that? That's actually going to be in these sort of areas. You're going to want to see if these menus contain any sort of areas with the small photos in them, like color and alpha, because you may also need to change those. Any of these unchecked boxes, you will not need to check. So you don't need to check everything, but I would highly recommend checking most things. So under light and shadow, check lighting modifiers. No, there's nothing. Additive lighting. No, there's nothing. So we can remove that. How about rim lighting? Oh, you can see rim lighting. So I'm going to go over and drag that there. Oh, and you can see it's almost fixed, but it looks like there's still a little that needs to be changed. So I'm going to close rim lighting, check baked, nothing in baked, go down to matte cap because it's checked, and then you can see. But this looks a little bit different than my original texture here. So if I check out rim lighting, you can see that this is actually like skin color and this is white. So what happens if you have two separate textures that you need to change? Well, left click on this, and you can see that this is actually the black and white version. Again, I'm going to press Control D to duplicate. Right click, rename. I'm just going to call this Bojack Matte Cap. I'm right clicking this, clicking Show and Explore, and we locate the matte cap. So this is Bojack Matte Cap PNG. Make sure you're not clicking png.meta. You're going to want to make sure it's PNG. Right click this, open with, and Photoshop. And now we can see this texture. It's pretty much the exact same, but there's no logo. So I'm going to zoom in back to the collarbone here. Because this is index color, what we're going to want to do is go to image, mode, change it to, you can either change it to grayscale or RGB. I'm just going to change it to RGB. I'm just going to go over it like we did with the other one. So once this has been covered up, first thing I should take note of is that the width and the height are 1638 by 1638. The width and the height for this texture is 3277 by 3277. So that means if I were to copy this logo onto the other one, it's going to be bigger and out of place. I'm going to make this image bigger. So we're going to want to make this 3277 by 3277. So I'm going to image canvas size 3277 by 3277. If I click OK, that's just going to make a bigger screen, but I'm just going to make this the exact same size. And just make sure it fits the whole screen. So that way we can click on the After Dark logo, press Ctrl C, go into this avatar, Ctrl V. And we're going to copy and paste over the values. So 1510, 230, so that means this was 1510 and 230. Make sure you press enter, otherwise it is not going to save that transform. The final step would be to press File, Save As, just make sure it's a PNG. Link's body matte cap, save, yes. And now we're just going to go back. We're just going to change that. You can see it's slowly disappearing, but we've still got some stuff, and we can see that this is the one that we need to put in there. There we go. And it looks like it's clearing up. It doesn't look like there's anything else that we need to change. So now you can see this avatar has the logo in the spot that I really want it to be, and we're pretty much done. So you can see the finished product in the mirror right here. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave that down in the comment section. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.